It's another week, another Monday, time for another update. Welcome to Jason and Tom. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your support. I'll show you what I've been up to. I took some time this weekend to work on the lathe, knock out what might be the last few things that really needed to be fixed for now. I cleaned up this shaft, bored out the board that it goes into, pushed in a bushing, so that's nice and tight. And I also cut a new keyway in this gear because the keyway that was in it was actually a 32nd too big for the key. So I might have the welder plugged in, so I'm going to turn this on and it probably won't do anything. So that's as fast as the lathe goes, so it's still pretty loud, but that is a lot quieter than it used to be. I also rebuilt the half nuts that, if you saw that last video on the lathe, focus. Well, it's not gonna focus back in there. Oh, there we go. You can see, oh, it was there for a second. You can see I made a bronze insert, bored that out, and epoxied that insert in. I'm not used to it only engaging a very small range, so now I have half nuts that will last hopefully another 80 years. Means now it's time for me to get back on the Jeep. Next up are brakes, and I think in previous updates I showed this setup, mocking up my brake pedal arm. So firewall, kind of toe board, floorboard. I'm trying to figure out where this fits. I want to use, just for sort of aesthetics, the stock brake pedal arm, but it was way too long, so I cut it down, and also this mount has to be offset from the hole, so I welded the pedal mount back on off to the side to get that offset. I'd already bent it some, but I cut off part of the bent part, so I needed to do that. But since I cut that down, I also need to move the pivot so that I get the right ratio on the brake pedal. So I welded up the pivot hole. I think what I'm going to do is chalk this shaft in a collet block on a mill, set that up so I can actually measure accurately, and then I can measure where that pivot's going to go. Because, you know, being angled, it's kind of weird figuring out that dimension, but I think that's going to work pretty well. It will keep the pedal from sticking out way too far, still give me the range of travel I need, and be pretty good. So making progress on that. I think once I do that, I'm gonna make a new pin, because the pin that the push rod goes on was pretty worn out, so I'll make a new one of those and probably just weld this up and stick it in the Jeep and see if I got it right. So getting there. So that's the next thing. I'm hoping I can get that done this week. I have kind of a busy week doing other things. I'm refinishing the floors in my house because my wife and son are out of town. Seems like a good time to do that. But I will have that video on the lathe out tomorrow. Hopefully it'll come out today for you guys. For those of you on Patreon, I couldn't get that last video, the Jeep steering video. I guess it might have been too long for Patreon, but I couldn't get it to upload. So my apologies for that, but you guys can just watch it on YouTube instead. So as always, thank you for your support and have a great week.